Hello everybody. Today I'm going to talk about the current Oculus Rift drama. Now if you don't know what the Oculus Rift is, or I don't know how you pronounce this thing, but Oculus, I don't know how you pronounce it, but anyways, basically it was a Kickstarter funded VR project. And basically what happened was it got a ton of money thrown at it, and it's been building up hype over the last year or two because it's a virtual reality headset. And apparently virtual reality is positioned to become the new 3D. I mean, remember the 3DS and its 3D slider? Basically, the Rift is going to supposedly make it be the newest thing. It's going to be the new thing in gaming, apparently, according to what everybody said about it, and many stuff has happened. I mean, you've had tons of mods for games. There are videos of people playing Call of Duty, various other PC games, Minecraft, Valve games, pretty much anything you can think of with the Rift. And of course, people have even made hacks and extensions for it to basically make you pretend you're running around playing Call of Duty, like in real life. But something apparently happened. Basically, inevitably, I mean, this people should have seen coming from 15 miles away. People are also trying to get into virtual reality stuff because it's the new thing. Will it take off or will it become another 3D? Who knows? But Facebook decided to buy the Rift. Now, this is unsurprising because basically Sony has already been trying to get into their VR market. And of course, you've got other stuff happening. But basically what has happened is, this did not go over well with gamers. What do I mean, gamers? Well, just for context, let me just tell you about something else. Remember when, don't you remember with the, not just the Rift, you know how people with Valve and stuff would get angry if a game wasn't on Steam, works like with Titanfall right now? People were complaining a ton about how the game was not on Steam in Steamworks. Remember that just a few, month or two ago? Because it wasn't published by Valve or a company that used Steam. But anyways, Oculus Rift was targeted toward that PC demographic. And of course, everybody knows what happened. On message boards, on YouTube comments, on gaming forums, a giant backlash has started because Facebook bought them. Now, why? Well, it's pretty simple, actually. You've got this cool new VR technology, which people are hyping up is going to be the next big thing. And, of course, what happens when you have a big company? Of course, they're going to use it for everything. I mean, look at Google and Android. They bought Android, ended up becoming a big hit. I mean, tons of phones run it now, and it ended up knocking out RIM, knocking out Nokia pretty much with their old Symbian. It nearly knocked out Microsoft. They actually had to make a new cell phone operating system based somewhat on their Zune devices. And they pretty much eventually ended up knocking out, or not knocking out, but reducing the market share of Apple. Big time. So what has happened? Well, Facebook bought them. Now, of course, everybody is kicking and screaming. Instead of thinking of the long term, they're pretty much throwing a tantrum over this. One game developer, Notch, who, even though their company hasn't made a game since Minecraft, and they've still been milking out Minecraft, porting it to the PS4 and Xbox One now, you've got stuff such as him saying, we're going to cancel it because I don't like this company. I'm not making this up. Instead of trying to work with them, he kicks and screams. And what also happens? Well, let me tell you what also happened. Basically, I've seen many people talking about how it's going to be ruined forever. The only problem is, there have been 3 recent acquisitions, of which I've heard several recent acquisitions. 2 of them I've heard backlash. One of them was also one of them's a different acquisition by Facebook, but You had Tumblr bought by Yahoo. People were complaining about that, saying it would ruin Tumblr's culture. Hasn't, because I still see the same stuff on Tumblr as I did months ago, years, maybe a year or two ago. It hasn't ruined, Disney hasn't ruined Marvel yet. Even though Disney owns Marvel, they haven't ruined Marvel yet. And of course, you've got Facebook. They've already bought Instagram and WhatsApp. Both of those are still up, even though with WhatsApp, or whatever that thing's called, people were jumping ship because of Facebook as a knee-jerk reaction, but in the end, it's still up. You can still use it. I mean, I've got a Windows Phone here. If I cared about those disposable apps, I use them. Of course, I use Skype, but that's another thing. And that's the thing. You've got people who aren't looking into the bigger picture. I mean, how could this be used for many other things besides gaming? You've got people throwing, like, they're just kicking and screaming of every little thing. I mean, we wouldn't have smartphones if people were talking about how smartphones were evil and ruin everything. We wouldn't have cell phone service if we said that cell phones were ruining everything. You should just be using a phone at your home. We wouldn't have cars if we said we didn't need cars, because carriages are just fine, and we don't need things that run without horses. You get the point what I'm saying. I mean, I really don't get why there was such a big backlash here. I mean, John Carmack, if you don't know who he is, he's the guy at ID Software who basically made pretty much most of their games, coded most of their engines, and made them the big company they were. He basically said that he's doing the same thing he did a week ago before they were bought by Facebook. So far, nothing's changed. Now, could it change? Possibly. For the better? Maybe. For the worse? Maybe. But I'd rather hold off judgment to see what happens. Because it could be a good thing, it could be something stupid like Sprint buying out Nextel or something like that. Who knows? But we'd have to wait and see, because like I said, it could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. I'd rather have people hold off judgment than throw a tantrum every time something happens that they might not like, because for all you know, in a week, people will be forgetting about this. Or it might be like Mass Effect 3, where people will still make a big deal over it. Who knows? Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.